Hello and welcome to the British Sitcom History Podcast. My name is Alan. With me, as always, is Gareth.
Hello.
Hello. A little bonus today. We've already looked at Are You Being Served this series, and all sorts of other spin-offs. We've done the film
all sorts
and
of things. There's so much Grace Brothers content.
yeah. So we've already looked at the film. We looked at Grace and Favour, or Are You Being Served Again? The follow-up. And so, chronologically speaking, we're at our next stop, and the final stop.
The last stop.
Yes. So let's go all the way back to 2016, and the BBC were doing a bit of a sitcom revival thing.
Have we touched on this before? So that
yes,
there was a series of things, weren't there? What else? What is this when they did the Porridge remake as well?
They did the Porridge reboot, and the Young Hyacinth was also part of this.
We talked about that. Yes.
So we've talked about all of them actually in their own way.
Okay.
So who do you go to if you want to reboot Are You Being Served in 2016? What writer do you approach for a bit of camp comedy hijinks?
Tell us.
Darren Litton.
So tell me a little more about him.
Darren Litton was an actor once upon a time who has turned writer, and that's certainly how he plies his trade now. But he is basically best known, and was certainly best known in 2016, for Benidorm. Okay. He is the creator and writer of Benidorm, which certainly has a camp sensibility to it. It's certainly less traditional sitcom than Are You Being Served is, albeit it is not that far removed to say it's not an audience-based
Have you seen much of Benidorm, Alan?
I have, yeah. Certainly the earlier years, yeah.
I've only seen the first series, which I watched quite recently. And it's very different in some ways to Are You Being Served, but it has got that ensemble cast, doesn't it? And that sort of it's got a slight soap opera feel to it, perhaps.
Benidorm, I think it's after series 3 or something like that. It goes from being a half hour to an hour, well, TV hour, it's ITV hour. Right. And that is definitely when it becomes more soapy, yes. Yeah, but the first few series are a little bit more straightforward sitcom. Yeah. And actually quite good. I do like Benidorm in a lot of ways. We'll look at it one day because there's lots to talk about there, and there's definitely some things to question. Not least, I'm talking about the camp sensibilities of this and Darren Litton. Darren Litton is gay, and I was watching Benidorm thinking, like, whoever wrote this better be gay, otherwise this is a problem.
Wow.
So there's certain things you can joke about if you're in that world.
Funny you should say that, because I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself here, but the Mr. Humphreys character in 2016 felt inappropriate. And Jason Watkins, the actor, was essentially doing an impression of John Inman. He was doing exactly the same characteristics, but it felt more offensive. It felt different. It felt wrong.
Oh yeah, okay. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to the little tease of our analysis. But let me just have a talk about Darren Litton for a little bit. I'll give you a bit more details. So, like I say, he was more of a comedy actor. He was at drama school with Catherine Tate, who obviously went on to be a huge star, and basically one of his earlier credits and his first writing credit is on the Catherine Tate Show.
But when was that? I know that's longer ago than I think. But when was the Catherine Tate Show?
It began in 2004.
Oh my God.
I know. We're getting old, aren't we? So, yeah, the Catherine Tate Show, he was brought in as an actor, but he was also a writer. It seemed like the cast were involved in the writing process of Catherine Tate Show, all of them. And remember the Catherine Tate connection, as it's going to come up quite a lot during this episode. So, he seemed to enjoy writing, sketch writing. He ended up writing an episode of Green Green Grass, which is the Boise spin-off of Only Fools and Horses. Yeah. And pretty much, really, like within a year or so of that, got Benidorm commissioned, and that was him for the next, 11, 12 years that ran for. Mm-hmm. He wrote another sitcom he wrote called was The Spa, and then just after Benidorm finished, he did a show called Scarborough with similar kind of sensibilities, both of which just kind of did one series and no more. So that's where we are. But in 2016, he is elbow deep in Benidorm and having great success with it.
So I wonder, when this is commissioned as a pilot, are they telling him, right, this might be a series, or this is a one-off, or we need you to be available? Like, that's a commitment, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't. I did read an interview with him in which he kind of went on a bit, and they basically, the BBC said, just, I don't know, Are You Being Served reboot? Do what you want. Let's see what happens. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that means he had the freedom to do whatever he wanted, but they were certainly giving him the freedom to write whatever he wanted, and then they would have another look at it and go, no, that doesn't work, whatever. Because I believe his original script was set modern day with the same characters, not aged up. It's just those characters moved into 2025. In kind of the way Porridge did, although they were technically different characters.
That would definitely be offensive. Well, that was my interest, because obviously, Porridge went the route of grandson and moved it all into a modern era. And Are You Being Served has very self-consciously not done that. It's 1988. It's actually explicitly said in the script.
Yes, which is just a few years after we left Are You Being Served, the proper series, not including Grace and Favour.
And they lean into that. Certainly the Matthew Horne suit is very 1980s, and there's the Amstrad computer, which is the source of much hilarity.
Well, Darren Litton said that he wrote this script and it was like there was a handful of references to, Ant and Dec or something like that. But other than that, it just felt like he'd written a 1970s script, because that's what he wanted to do and that's what he loves about Are You Being Served. You can tell he's a fan. This is definitely a passion project as well, which is one of the reasons he took it on. Because he was like, well, why are we doing Are You Being Served reboot? Why am I doing it? What's the point? We've got Are You Being Served. And I think someone said to him, like, well, if you don't do it, someone else will. So do you want to have it done by a fan or just by someone? And he was like, okay. So this is, it feels like a fan project. It feels like a fan fiction kind of thing.
Yeah. That is very accurate. It's like a sort of fantasy. Who would you cast today? It's the sort of thing you might discuss on a podcast, dare I say.
Yeah, exactly. And it's fun. It's obviously done with affection. I think the characters are all really nicely realised. I think it's very true to what it's doing. But the still at the heart of it is like, well, we don't need it, do we? There's not really much point.
What's the point? You're not doing anything new with it. What's the point?
It's just a bit of fun.
It was a very good script in the sense that it was an accurate rendering of an Are You Being Served. Doesn't mean I liked it. We'll get to that. But I think you're right. If you're not going to do anything different with it, what are you actually doing?
And I don't know the full details, but yes, there's definitely stuff in this script that is setting up for a series or potential series.
Having said that, when we looked at that Porridge remake, we were saying, well, this is terrible. Why don't I leave it alone? Is that the answer? Don't remake it at all. Just put a repeat on.
Yeah. Actually, of all those reboots, as much as this one is probably the most pointless because it's not trying to do anything new, so it's not quite. But it's probably the most fun one, and because it's like watching a comic relief sketch where they get let's get a few actors together and we'll do a sketch, except it just lasts half an hour.
It is way better than any comic relief sketch I have ever seen.
Well, obviously it's had the time and money put into it, but you know what I mean. It's that kind of, it's just a bit of fun kind of thing.
Yes. I definitely enjoyed it as a novelty. So why don't we talk about the episode itself, and then as we go through it, we can talk about the characters and actors.
Yes, excellent. And right from the beginning, we start as we mean to go on. This is a faithful recreation of the original series. We've got the full set.
Yeah.
The menswear and women's wear section connected here. The lifts in the background, all that. They've built the whole thing.
And we have the exactly the same theme music. Is it re-recorded, or is it exactly? It sounded the same to me.
It doesn't appear to be recorded, as far as I could tell. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and it's that same thing where they're all busy while the music's playing. They're all busy. They're all talking to customers, but the customers have all disappeared by the time the music stops.
yeah, obviously, customers do get in the way of Are You Being Served. Mm-hmm. So basically our introduction is the new boy, the junior, and this is great. We're going right back to kind of the early Are You Being Served. 1, yeah. Trevor Bannister was kind of the new boy, the 42-year-old new boy who was coming in to work as a junior. In this case, we do actually have a relatively young man. The actor's called Kayode Ewumi. That's my go at pronouncing that. I didn't
recognise him at all. I think it's interesting that it's not Mr. Lucas. It's not Trevor Bannister in disguise, like all the others are our characters in disguise.
Yeah. What's interesting is obviously Trevor Bannister had left, Mr. Lucas had left Grace Brothers.
Yeah, we had
by
different
the time.
People replacing that character in the.
So that's kind of in-world reasoning. But also Mr. Granger had left, and we get a sort of hand-waving reason for why he's back, because they wanted that character in. Yes, could you have put a Mr. Lucas in here? Yes, you could. But I think this is a great, and we've seen it so many times, it's just a great script writing opportunity to bring a new character in and introduce all the characters to that person. So why not?
Can I ask, like, how young is he? Because he looks like a young fella, but there's lots of references. He's trying to chat up Miss Brahms. Oh, he was way too young for her. They looked about the same age. She didn't look old.
It's interesting you say that. Kayode Owumi, like I say, I'm no idea if I'm pronouncing that anywhere near correctly. He was in his early 20s at the time, so he was a young man. But it's interesting that you mentioned that about our Miss Brahms, Nikki Wardley, who's playing Miss Brahms. She, at the time this was made, would have been 41, 42.
Really?
When he refers to her as an older woman.
Wow.
Yeah, we're not messing about there. I don't know if the character's supposed to be that old.
Well, then they are correct. But I would have guessed she was in her late 20s. Fair play to her.
Yeah, she doesn't look it, to be fair. She looks younger than Wendy Richard playing Miss Brahms at the start of it. She was supposed to be a young woman then. Yeah, she doesn't particularly look her age, does she? But I think the idea is she's the age of the character in 1988. So she should have been in her 30s, I guess, by that point. Yeah. We'll come back to Nikki Wardley. Shall we deal with Kayode Owumi right now? Just because everyone else we're going to talk about are pretty much people we know from other things. Yeah. But this guy is new to you, obviously. I actually have seen him in something. Kind of, it was made at the same time of this year. It was called Hood Documentary or #Hood Documentary. It was like It was a 6-episode thing, but the episodes are only like 10 minutes long or something like that. And it's a mockumentary style, following this guy who's like this inner city London guy, and he's sort of got this little. It looks like Eddie Murphy in Delirious, right? He's got this kind of leather jacket on, and he's an MC DJ, but he's actually really crap, and he's trying desperately to be cool, but he's not, and all the other people like on his estate think he's a loser, kind of vibe. It's actually quite a nice little thing. I think he may have written it as well. He was certainly. It's kind of mostly improv, like it feels like largely improv. Really loose, really cheap. It's the sort of thing like BBC Three were doing at the time, kind of lots of stuff. Like People Just Do Nothing was a similar kind of start.
Yes, I remember that.
They were doing YouTube shorts and stuff like that. So I've seen that recently, actually, just by chance, and it's him. This was like the next thing he did after that, and that didn't become anything bigger. It didn't get its own series or anything, but he's obviously a character comedian. That's kind of what he does.
Okay.
And he went on to do. He was in a few episodes of Stath Lets Flats, for example. But anyway, he was kind of a bit of an up and comer at this time. But like I say, more as a character comedy, improv kind of guy. Where in this show he is positioned as the straight man. He's very
bland. It's not really. I'm not really criticizing the performance. Just the character is just. Well, he's our eyes and ears, isn't he? So he's very blank, so that we can project ourselves onto him. Yeah,
and I think, to be fair, it's the sort of character that would expand as you go into series, right? We're just establishing him here. So I think he does a nice job here. He's also he's what you might call a living meme, Gareth. Are you aware of memes?
I've read about memes, yes.
So the show I was just telling about, Hood Documentary, his character Roll Safe. There's a picture of him, and it's just a still taken from the video, where he's sort of tapping himself on the head, like as if to
I know exactly the meme you mean.
There you go.
And it's him. I've got it.
That is him.
I've got it. I have seen him before.
So that's him. That meme, that guy is him. So that's his legacy now, apparently.
Yeah. That'll be seen by more people than anything else he does.
Yeah. I mean, that's something, isn't it?
Interesting.
So actually, as he comes in, his arrival through the lifts, and his first interaction is with Mr. Humphreys, who believes he is a customer. So he's dealing with him.
And Captain Peacock thinks he's a customer as well.
Yes, because he's been hired above their heads by Mr. Rumbold, who met him at a party.
At a barbecue.
Yeah. So that's
I like the little bait and switch. Captain Peacock asks Mr. Humphreys if he's free, and we expect the line, don't we?
Yeah. Say the line.
Say the line. No, he doesn't say it. Not at the moment, Captain Peacock. I'm just negotiating an indigo double-breasted.
Yes.
Which is not funny, but it sounds like a joke. It sounds like an innuendo. So Jason Watkins, and we've obviously recently spoken about Jason Watkins because he was the star of Trolleyed. But we also, when we talked about him, we said, he's a serious actor. He's played many, many different types of roles. So is this within his acting range?
Do you know, I've seen him play camp quite a bit. This is definitely something he sort of plays
Gavin Strong's quite camp in Trolleyed.
Yeah,
but this is it is by definition over the top camp, isn't it? That's what it is.
It's a tough job replacing John Inman.
It is a very tough job.
All these characters, it's a tough job to replace them because they're so iconic. But John Inman, obviously, we talked about this in Are You Being Served? He became the star in a lot of ways. He was one of the breakout stars. And he made that character his own, because it didn't seem to be that far removed from his own personality when you see him being interviewed and things like that. So, yeah, I think, for what it's worth, Jason Watkins does a very excellent job here of embodying that Mr. Humphries vibe. I wouldn't say he brings a lot of his own stuff to it. He's pretty much doing Mr. Humphries, but he does it very well.
I think he's doing a very good John Inman impression.
Yeah.
But as I said earlier, I think that's a little problematic. Certainly in 2025, as I was watching it, it feels a bit problematic. Whereas when I was watching Are You Being Served from the 70s and 80s, it felt like old-fashioned because it was old.
Yeah.
I don't know. It really clanged with me. It felt, not offensive's too strong a word, but just, anachronistic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole show is anachronistic, isn't it?
Sure.
Yes. Okay. How much do you play up to that? I think the fact that you bring in a gay writer is definitely helps. It means you feel safe ground. Like if the writer says it's okay, then it's fine, which is not really how it works. But that definitely helps. But Jason Watkins is not gay. At least he's been married to women, so I think we can assume he's not 100% gay. No, that definitely has to be a consideration, I think.
Yeah, I think, like I said, he's doing a perfectly good impression. And what are you going to do? Like, what else are you going to do? Yeah. If you're going to do Are You Being Served and you're going to have Mr. Humphries in it, you can't tone it down. That's ridiculous.
I think you have to celebrate it. This is
you
camp,
do it or you don't.
We're all fine with it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also have, so next character we meet, we have Captain Peacock.
Played by John Challis.
Yeah, I don't know who I would have thought of to play it, but I think that's a great shout. It's a really nice one, isn't it? Yeah.
I agree, although I think his impression is not as accurate, but that's not necessarily a criticism. I think he does a great job. He portrays the character really well, but I don't think he's doing an impression of the old actor in quite the same way that some of the others are.
But I don't think it has to be. I think it has the same spirit.
I agree. I agree. I'm, again, not a criticism, but I just think that was quite interesting in that all the others seemed to be doing their damnedest to be identical, and he didn't. It felt like a choice.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not a million miles away, is it? It's still Captain Peacock. He's still got that energy. Mm-hmm. The authoritarian who's drunk on his own power, but then constantly stifled.
Maybe it's because we only had one episode, and how long is he on camera? He's probably only 10 minutes. But he didn't feel as pretentious, as quite up himself as the old Captain Peacock.
Yeah, I guess just the nature of the episode doesn't particularly come to that, does it? He gets put out by the fact that this employee has been brought on without his knowledge, which is fair, I think.
Which is fair, yeah. Perfectly reasonable thing to be.
Not only employed without his knowledge, but not even told afterwards. The guy turns up for his first day at work, John Challis, of course. I mean, look, let's face it, he's Boise. That's his sitcom legacy. Although he played policeman in many sitcoms.
We saw him as a copper in Chance in a Million, didn't we?
Yeah, he always played policeman. He was just a big fella with a moustache, basically. So And interesting, like I said, Darren Litton, one of his first screenwriting credits was an episode of The Green Green Grass. So he'd worked with John Challis. John Challis became a regular on Benidorm. Also,
did he?
In the later years, just before this, about 2015 it was. Yes. So let's move on, and we'll find a new character as we go along, I'm sure.
Okay, so there's obviously this confusion over the new member of staff, and Mr. Conway starts flirting with the old lady, Miss Brahms.
Yeah.
And this is our first look at Mrs. Slocum and Miss Brahms, the ladies' wear department.
Exactly. Now, just as John Inman portrayed Mr. Humphreys in a way that no one else could do. We had Molly Sugden as Mrs. Slocum, of course, the other sort of breakout star of this show. And again, a pretty irreplaceable. So a poison chalice, and this time it goes to Sherry Hewson.
If it's the young man's appearance you're commenting on, please try and use the correct vernacular. The correct what? I like the word dishy.
I get what you're saying, but it feels to me like you're leading up to this to be a big criticism of Sherry Hewson. I think she does a perfectly good job here.
No, I agree with that, actually. Yeah, I'm sort of bigging it up to be able to praise her properly, because I think it is a very difficult job and she does it very well. All these roles are tough to step into, and I think everybody basically does a good job. But Sherry Hewson, a lot of sitcom lineage behind her, but also, soap opera star is basically what people really know her as. Yeah. But real comedy chops, real definite comedy chops, and she does everything.
Well, of course, Home James with Jim Davidson. She was.
Yes, we saw her in that. Yes, we get everything from her that we got from Molly Sugden. It feels like an impression. Yes, it feels like she hasn't really had the chance to make it her own, and that's fine. I think that's inevitable in certainly in a pilot. But she does it really well, and we get everything that we could possibly want from this character.
I think Sherry Hewson disappears into it. Like unlike the other characters, I forgot it was her. I didn't think. I don't mean I was deceived that it was Molly Sugden, but it didn't feel different. It felt like I was just watching the original when it was her. Yeah.
So, how much do you know about Sherry Hewson? She's got quite a few sitcom connections in her locker.
Not much, I guess. Like I say, we saw her in Home James, but we didn't really cover that in a lot of detail.
Yeah, she was in Coronation Street for years. That's kind of what she's known for. She was a soap star, but she was also in other soaps. She was in Emmerdale. She was in
Can I ask you,
Crossroads.
You said
she was in that.
You said she was in. Oh, so she got the triple whammy there, triple threat. she was in Coronation Street for years, and yes, I did know that. But like, how long? Because somebody can be in Coronation Street for 3 years or 30 years.
I didn't write it down specifically, so I'm doing this from memory, but it was like a decade, and then she came back a little bit later on. Sort of dropped in and out, but it was a good solid stint. Yeah, right when it was at its height, in the 90s.
Yes.
And her most recent work actually has been in Hollyoaks. She's a regular in Hollyoaks. So, they get
there we go then. The Grand Slam.
So she does a lot of soaps, but yeah, sitcom connections. Let's have a look. Well, actually, do you know what? I happened to watch just the other day an episode of Carry On Laughing, the Carry On sort of anthology series, so half-hour sitcom-y Carry On films. And she was in one of those.
I don't think I've heard of that.
It was really late, kind of mid-70s, 1975 it was.
Okay.
The Carry On Laughing it was called. It was like 6 episodes, totally different scenario every episode, but in the same vein of the films, same actors and stuff. She was in one of them, and she was in one of those later Carry On films, like Carry On England, or one of those, the really kind of crap ones right at the end.
Right.
Anyway, that was one of her earlier kind of appearances. She kind of really made a name in comedy as part of Russ Abbott's troupe. In the 80s.
Oh, get away. I remember Russ Abbott.
She was in Madhouse and all Russ Abbott stuff with the rest of those guys. She did have a semi-regular role at the back end of In Loving Memory.
That was Thora Hird?
Yeah. It's a funeral home set comedy. Home James, we did see her in that. That was late 80s. So this is all before she kind of gets into soaps. Which kind of took her career in a slightly different direction, I think. But here's an interesting sitcom connection. Here's an interesting David Croft connection. She was in the pilot of Oh, Dr. Beeching.
Oh, right, okay.
So Oh, Dr. Beeching, what was that, 95, 96? She was in the pilot for that, but then wasn't available for the series, I think, because she decided to stick with Coronation Street instead. Oh. And it was Julia Deakin who took her place.
Oh, right, yeah.
So Julia Deakin, she's the wife of Jeffrey Holland's character, I think. It's been a while since I've seen Old Dr. Beeching. Anyway, and Julia Deakin always felt a little bit out of place, because I think of her as spaced and kind of slightly more off-the-wall things, whereas Sherry Hewson, David Croft sitcom feels very right.
Perfect.
Yeah. She was also a regular in Barbara, around the turn of the century, and then Benidorm. She wasn't in the first few series of Benidorm, but she comes in as the manager of the hotel, and so she had already worked with Darren Litton for some years when this was made. So, yes, another connection to Darren Litton's previous work. Jason Watkins had never worked with Darren Litton before this, by the way. So it seems like he was brought in.
Well, let's go back to our episode. So, yes, we see Miss Brahms and Mrs. Slocum. There's a little bit of badinage about Jimmy Connor's balls, which is a nice topical reference. Early 80s tennis player.
Yeah, nice.
And so now we found out that Mr. Rumbold has hired Mr. Conway at a barbecue, and we get the story. So we go up to the office, don't we? Mm-hmm. And we see Mr. Rumbold.
Interesting, the office seems to have been brightened up a bit. Mr. Rumbold's office in the original was a very dark, dingy, small little place.
Yeah, dark.
In this case, it's much brighter. We've got a window, a roundel in the background, so it looks like he's right above the entrance or something.
Yeah.
That's an interesting choice because everything else is kind of we're recreating things as they were. And that's very much like, let's open this up a bit.
Yeah, they've made a decision there, haven't they?
Yeah. But we have Mr. Rumbold here.
Played by Justin Edwards.
Justin Edwards, yeah, who is a real kind of workhorse in this comedy world.
I like him. I think of him in The Thick of It. He was very good in that.
Yes, Thick of It. Probably one of his more regular roles. He's one of those guys where you just know him from stuff without being able to necessarily place it. He was in a special of the Christmas special of Ghosts. He was in one of those, if you remember.
Yes, he was. Yeah, played Santa. Oh, it wasn't Santa.
And he was a writer on Horrible Histories, so I think he knew all those guys.
Oh, I did not know that. Yeah. Okay.
I tell you what, I was looking at Justin Edwards to try and find, like, did he ever have like a good, solid, regular role in a sitcom? And Thick of It is kind of the best he got. But I found a sitcom made in 2006 called Respectable. It's set in a brothel, and he was like a guy who goes there, and he's the only man in it. But it's kind of he's the central figure. I can't really remember.
No, that's not ringing any bells. Sorry.
Well, exactly.
I'll tell you. Anyone who says I have is a liar.
I'll tell you why Respectable as a sitcom is notable is because it was made for and played on Channel 5.
Ah.
Yeah, I didn't know that existed either. but yeah, it was just a one series thing. But that was the only thing where I could find him as like a proper lead in a sitcom. How do we feel about Justin Edwards as Mr. Rumbold then? I think this is the one character that it just doesn't land for me at all. There's something not working here. And I don't... I like Justin Edwards, he's fine, but there's just something that's just not coming together here.
Shall I tell you what I've written? My one note here is, he looks wrong, I can't say why. So I agree. I can't say why, but I do agree with you.
There's something just not working there, and I'm not quite sure what it is. And I don't think it's the actor's fault. I think he's doing fine. I don't think he's doing anything particularly interesting, but it's fine, you know.
Yeah. But he tells us the story, doesn't he, of how Mr. Conway has been hired.
There's a whole thing about a family barbecue. There is a dog choking, and Mr. Conway, using some sort of medical insight he's picked up somewhere, shoves his finger up the dog's arse, and that is enough of a shock to make it cough up whatever it was choking on.
Now, let me ask you, if you saw that, would you think,
give that man
a
job
I want on my team?
Cool in a crisis.
But has put his finger up a dog's arse.
In a
as far as I'm concerned, that disqualifies him from everything. I never want to see you again, let alone at a barbecue, and certainly not at work.
Pass me that hot dog.
Oh, God. Absolutely disgusting. So that's really put me off the character.
Well, what I will say about this whole kind of barbecue thing, it works on its own merits. There's a little comedy bit. There's a whole confusion between Rumbold and Peacock because he thinks he's talking about the wife, and it works. It's nicely written. It's that classic comedy of confusion that we get with Mr. Rumbold, and it does come back to play out later, which is just a lovely bit of script writing. There's another example of that as well, where something comes back, and I'll say this right now, actually, rather than wait till the end. I think this is a really good script. I think this is really nicely written. It has all the ingredients you want for Are You Being Served. It has the dead set sense of humour that Are You Being Served has, so it fulfills all that. And it's a well-written episode that comes together in a way that Are You Being Served often didn't, frankly.
I was about to say the same thing. I think this is a much more compact and tighter script than we are used to.
And I will say as well, having watched a fair bit of Benidorm, that's not particularly something I associate with Darren Litton's work. I quite like Benidorm, it's fine, but it's quite soapy, just what's going on with these characters' lives today kind of thing. There is often a series arc that kind of comes round and comes together, which is perhaps what we're working at here. But I think this is a lovely bit of writing. I think this is great.
So let's get back onto the shop floor. And we get a little bit of Mr. Humphries here. And he's talking about when he was younger, he was a member of the Wobbly Wand Club.
Of course, yeah.
Which is a genuinely funny phrase. And there's apparently junior magicians, wobbly wands.
Yeah.
That's a nice little bit of nonsense, not related to anything else, just a nice little innuendo.
It's lovely, and another example of how this writing nails exactly the vibe of Are You Being Served, and it's fun and frolicsome, I think.
Yeah, I like that. So now we get the appearance of Arthur Smith as Mr. Harmon.
Yes.
Doing his Arthur English.
I've seen bigger Bristols on a middle-aged man.
Mr. Harmon, do you mind?
Not at all. She seems to be missing her raspberry ripples. I'll keep an eye out for him if you want.
Disgusting.
Arthur Smith's great. I'm a big fan of Arthur Smith. I always liked him, but I don't really think of him as an actor. I think of him as a writer and a stand-up comedian.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then did we say the same about Arthur English? He's not much of an actor either.
Well, that's it. I mean, you watch Arthur Smith in this, and he's certainly not an actor. He's done bits and pieces of acting here and there. He is a stand-up comedian, really, and a very successful one at that. But yeah, I think it is in keeping with our Mr. Harmon of the past, comedy, sketch kind of comedy, cabaret guy, and not really an actor. And I know I kind of slagged off Arthur English a bit in our episode and said he wasn't much of an actor, albeit he had the charm to get away with it. And I don't think Arthur Smith does.
Don't you? Oh, I do. I disagree. I think he gets away with it in the same way.
It's definitely the same direction. I just think Arthur Smith's a really bad actor, so it's a much further journey to go. He comes in here and then sets up something that happens later on, in which he's bringing up food. They're having a buffet to celebrate the launch of a new perfume.
It's a perfume launch called Belly.
Yeah, it's called Belly. It's Belle. It's French for
beautiful woman.
Nice. Again, a very, very good gag in keeping with the vibe. And
but this is a good example of the writing, because it stands up on itself. It's a good little joke, but it also sets up that later we're going to have the food on the shop floor, and we get the climax of the episode. I
do like that everyone's interested in the leftovers of a buffet. That was very relatable.
Yeah, very relatable for anyone who's worked on the shop floor.
Ooh, they've got
area manager's meeting upstairs. There might be some biscuits. But so there's chat here about there's lobster in this food apparently, and so now we get our first bit of classic Slocum.
Is she going to whip her pussy out?
Well, she says that she once had a lobster that was so covered in spices that her cat had a sneezing fit.
Her
that
cat?
Doesn't make any sense. Cats don't. What I want to know is, was the cat at the party where this lobster was being eaten?
Yeah.
Was the cat allowed at the table? Why was it eating the lobster? It doesn't make any sense.
I've not had lobster since Mr. Atbar's flat warming. And then it was covered in so many spices, my pussy had a sneezing fit.
No, you're wrong, Gareth. She meant her vagina had a sneezing fit.
Oh, I see.
That makes more sense.
Well, that's what. Yeah. So there's no double meaning. She just meant her fanny.
We get that's our first mention of Mrs. Slocum's pussy, but it will be coming back later on.
Oh yes. What happens next is Mr. Conway now makes his play for Miss Brahms. He asks her out. He says he'll take her up the Regal one night.
That's lovely. I like it. Can I take you up the Regal?
Bit of business.
It's good.
That is never not funny to me. That formulation of words. Who's the lady who's playing Miss Brahms then? I didn't recognise her.
So Nikki Wardley there playing Miss Brahms. I know her basically only from she was a regular in the Catherine Tate show.
Oh, okay.
With Darren Litton. She met Catherine Tate when they were doing a theatre show relatively early in Catherine Tate's career. And so she kind of they become friends, and then she got her on to do the show with her. And most of her notable credits are with Catherine Tate, including a couple of quite recent shows, Queen of Oz, which is really recent, and a couple other things in the last couple of years. She was in about 3 episodes in the early series of Benidorm. So obviously Darren Litton brought her in for that. A main role she played in a sitcom was In With the Flynns, which is a pretty traditional kind of family-based sitcom with Will Meller as the husband. 2011 to 12 that ran. I haven't seen it, I must admit. So yeah, she's sort of made a career as more of a supporting roles, really. Oh, here's an interesting thing. Nikki Wardley was in the pilot for Here Comes the Queen, which was an attempt to do a show for Wendy Richards quite late on.
Oh, I remember
2007
you talking about that,
it was. Yeah, it was a David Croft pitched idea with Wendy Richard and Les Dennis. Yeah, and Les Dennis. The whole royal family dies, and so a couple of Cockney sparrows become the royal family or something like that. And Nikki Wardley was in it. Maybe playing a daughter of Wendy Richards. She would have been about the right age. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But done all right. You know, she's out there. She's working. I think she's the least like the original characters of all of them here. What she's doing as Miss Brahms isn't. It's not in theoretically different, but just the way she's playing. It feels like someone doing a stupid Cockney accent rather than Wendy Richard. You know.
Yeah. I don't. I've got nothing to say. That's the problem. It was just a sort of fairly bland performance. But once again, I don't think Wendy Richard did much in that character either.
No. Do you know what? I think this definitely feels like one of those characters where Nikki Wardley is playing it as a broad comedy character. I don't think that's how Miss Brahms was played, as opposed to Mr. Humphreys, as opposed to Mrs. Slocum. That character was fairly straight down the line. I'm just a Cockney, flower girl, buy a flower from me, mister, kind of thing. And you hire someone who has basically got that accent, albeit she's putting it on a bit, and someone who's got that vibe. And I mean, this is what David Croft certainly did. He hired actors to play themselves. He didn't want them playing big, broad comedy characters or to play the thing that they did. This is what Molly Sugden does. And everything they did after this was the same.
I get you. But I think, like I said, I didn't recognise Nikki Wardley. I didn't recognise her face. I didn't recognise her name. And I won't. Like, in a month's time, I'll have forgotten her. I'll have forgotten everything about her.
A little, perhaps harsh, but true.
Good luck to her. But, okay, let's go back to the shop floor. And we get the appearance now of Matthew Horn as very young Mr. Grace. It made me think of Pitt the Even Younger,
Yeah. This is an interesting one. In terms of what are we doing that's different, we have Mr. Conway, who's coming in and is essentially, a Mr. Lucas type. It's not that much different, really. And then we have the change of Mr. Grace. Instead of having old young Mr. Grace, who is a sort of scarily decrepit old man, as in you're not sure he's going to get through the scene. Instead, they're going for, it's the 80s, we have a yuppie, and what he's trying to do is modernise the store, and that's going to be a point of conflict.
That's worse, isn't it? It's the same sort of capricious, impulsive, unpredictable leadership, but by someone who's actually got some energy. It's like J.D. Vance instead of Donald Trump.
So dare I say, great writing. Good idea. How do we just make this a little bit different and inject something new to it? Because you could very easily have just hired an old man and put him in.
Yeah, it would have been very easy to do that because it's a throwaway character, isn't it? It's a hello, come in and do your line and then leave again character. Yeah. Now there's a really unpleasant poo innuendo here. There's no place for that. Let's keep it sexual. Come on.
Now, can I get you some tea, biscuits?
No, thank you. I've just had a cappuccino, followed by a massive brownie.
Oh. Well, I hope you flushed it twice. That system has a mind of its own.
It's fine. You've got a real poo thing that's triggering you.
I don't like poo. I find it gross.
Prude.
And I don't think there's any room for poo innuendo in a mainstream sitcom.
But yeah, he's playing an 80s yuppie here. And it starts that process by giving Mr. Rumbold an Amstrad.
An Amstrad.
I guess that's a good 80s computer there.
Yeah.
It's 399 quid it cost.
Oh, man. So that is expensive, isn't it?
In 1988, you could have got a mini Metro for that.
You could have got a detached house in Pimlico for that.
So yeah, Mr. Rumbold is completely at odds with this computer. He does no idea how to work it. In fact, he hasn't even managed to plug it in yet, and that's kind of...
He's in denial, isn't he? He's in denial of the future. But that didn't feel very Rumbold, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Rumbold was always like, "Oh, let's get on with it. Come on, let's embrace these changes that our idiosyncratic leader has imposed on us."
Yeah. You know what? You're right there. It doesn't quite work, does it? But yeah, certainly he's struggling with the computer.
So we get a little bit of innuendo on the phone here now, don't we? Because he's talking to his secretary and trying to get her to plug it in, and it's gone floppy, and I don't know, it was all nonsense.
They don't even do the floppy disk joke.
No, it's not good enough, is it?
It's a perfectly good bit of innuendo, and
but on the other end of the phone is John Chalice pulling faces and gurning a bit. My goodness! And then he hands the phone over to Mr. Granger, and Mr. Granger has to sit down because he's so overcome by the innuendo.
That's exactly in keeping with Are You Being Served. I think it's perfectly good stuff. There was a joke in this line where they made an innuendo on seamen.
Yes.
I can assure you, a ship needs a captain at the wheel. Why have cabin boys running around when you can have a deck covered in seamen?
I don't think they would have put that innuendo in Are You Being Served. No. That was the one thing that I was like, I don't think you did that in the 80s.
Too much. Captain Pugwash, mate. Captain Pugwash from all of us.
Yeah.
But that was kids, wasn't it? You can get away with more there.
But I just think that was the one line in all of this that I was like, and I think it's fine. I think it's in keeping with it, and I think it's a good gag, whatever. But I just think that wouldn't have got past David Croft. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think David Croft would have had the poo innuendo. I think David Croft was better than that.
Do you know what? Thinking of it, I've never heard a poo gag in any Croft production as far as I can remember. I think you're right there. Yeah, maybe you're right.
There's more coming.
Okay, we do have Mr. Granger here now.
Yeah, Mr. Granger has to sit down. He's overcome with the power of the innuendo. Let's talk about Roy Barraclough as Mr. Granger.
Well, Mr. Granger here, of course, retired from Grace Brothers way back when the series was still running. That was partly because Arthur Brough, who played him, died. That's obviously a bit of a crimp on the old career. But in this case, they obviously wanted to bring Mr. Granger back, and he's back. No questions asked. And it is, in fact, Mr. Rumbold who delivers the line, a hand-waving... Oh, how come Mr. Granger's here? I thought he retired. Oh, yes, he came back to Grace Brothers so he could spend less time with his wife.
Yeah.
Fine, we're all moving on from that. Great.
But that's actually quite good because he used to fall out with his wife. He used to grumble about his wife all the time.
Yeah, it's fine. And, he was worried about retiring when he was doing it. And, that was part of the character's arc. So I think it's fine. And they never really figured out a proper replacement for him in the series. So... Great.
What do you think about the performance, the replacement then, Roy Barraclough?
It's great, actually. I think it's spot on. It's probably the most, if you just dropped him in, if you used AI to drop him in an episode of Are You Being Served, I probably wouldn't even notice.
It was good. This is a slight criticism, only slight. I felt like Roy Barraclough was acting doddering and old, whereas Arthur Brough wasn't acting.
I don't know. I didn't get that particularly. I thought he was doing a perfectly good job. But yeah, perhaps he's a little bit more spry.
But yeah, I think I'm perhaps being a little overly harsh there.
I mean, he was dead within a year, Roy Barraclough.
Yes.
So what more do you want?
Oh, was he? Okay.
Roy Barraclough died in 2017.
So Roy Barraclough, I remember being in Coronation Street for quite a long time. Yeah. But he was, I think, when I think of Roy Barraclough, I think of him and Les Dawson dragged up as Sissy and Ada.
Yeah, in terms of comedy lineage, that's it, isn't it? Yeah, he was in Coronation Street for many years. He did have a sitcom of his own called Mother's Ruin.
Okay.
With Dora Bryan playing his mother.
Right.
But yeah, I haven't seen it. But that was I was looking for what's his sitcom credit, and that was it pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, Les Dawson is comedy lineage, isn't it?
Yeah. So we're on the shop floor. Mr. Granger's had to have his little sit down, and we go back over to Ladies' Wear. And Mrs. Slocum takes a call We don't really get any details, but she's all afluster, and she leaves. She leaves the shop floor. She goes home. That's setting up later.
Setting up something
for
later
the whole second half of the episode. People are saying, "Oh, where's Mrs. Slocum? Where's Mrs. Slocum?" And they're all covering for her.
Yeah, and obviously she comes back at the end and it's a big thing. But it is an interesting choice in a show such as this, in a recreation of a show such as this, to send one of your characters away for
get rid of her,
6 or 7 minutes.
But also, I don't think they set up well enough why she has gone away.
Yeah, she just gets a phone call and goes, "Oh, I'm going to have to go." Yeah,
because when she comes back, there's a big visual punchline. But it's out of nowhere. I'm like, well, what's this? What's happened here?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I think it's just so that punchline later on is just a big old surprise, isn't it? Yeah.
Anyway, after she's gone, we finally get a bit of fan service.
Mr. Humphreys, are you free?
I'm free.
Big round of applause, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It's okay.
I'm all for it.
It's the one moment of just like pure fan service where the whole thing is fan service, obviously, but that's the one moment that's just like,
so you forgive that one moment, yes, definitely.
There's a nice bit of banter here between Captain Peacock and Mr. Humphreys about Mr. Conway's gone on a fag break.
We don't have fag breaks here at Grace Brothers.
Yeah, and it's just a lovely bit. It's, again, just perfectly in vibe with how you're being served. That little back and forth.
Yes, how is Mr. Conway settling in?
Oh, he's a natural. Extremely keen, loving the work, and 100% committed to the job.
And where is he now?
He's on a fag break.
We do not have fag breaks, Mr. Humphreys. We have a morning and afternoon 10-minute optional recess.
Oh, well, I see then. He's on an afternoon 10-minute optional recess.
And when is he due to return?
Oh, it shouldn't be long. He's only nipped out for a fag.
But it's lovely. That is exactly the kind of comedy.
It's really
we
nicely
do.
written, yes. Yeah.
Lovely bit of work. And they managed to put a little callback to it later on as well. So, yeah, lovely stuff. And we also get Mr. Humphreys is wearing his mother's shoes.
Oh, yeah. I forgot this bit, yeah. Just wearing kitten heels.
Yes. He's
breaking them in for her.
And it's just like it means he can mince around in heels for a bit, and it's funny.
I wondered if that was a little meta joke that Jason Watkins, that's how he got the walk, by wearing the kitten heels.
But again, just absolutely in keeping with something Mr. Humphreys would have done in the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. So Matthew Horn calls a team meeting. So this is great. This really reminded me of watching the original series, where they all just go up to the office, leave the shop floor, no customers. Who cares about the customers? We'll just have a team meeting. And then Matthew Horn just like, well, we've got to move with the times. And I went back and watched this meeting again, and he doesn't suggest any action. He doesn't say what we're going to do. It's just basically a threat. Move with the times or you're out. That's it. That's a hell of a team meeting. I've been in those meetings. It's so motivational.
Yeah. Should we a quick word about Matthew Horn?
Yes.
Just his kind of background here. I have no doubt that at some point in the future we'll deal with Matthew Horn in a bigger way. Because of Gavin and Stacey, of course.
That's really unfair. I have nothing against Matthew Horn. I don't know why. Him and James Corden were huge for a while, weren't they? Off the back of Gavin and Stacey,
they did their own sketch show called Horn and Corden.
And I think that was a bit of a backlash, especially against James Corden. But I think Matthew Horn got caught up in that. He was a little overexposed. But I don't think I can rationalise that. I have nothing against the lad.
I've got nothing against him either, but I know what you mean. I don't particularly care for him, and I don't quite know why. He's another one who kind of got his breakthrough on the Catherine Tate show. He was a regular on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he'd worked with Darren Litton on that, and that was kind of his biggest role at the time. And then Gavin and Stacey, shortly after that, 2007, that started. He also was in a sitcom called Roman's Empire at the same time, which didn't really do much business. And then his other major regular role in a sitcom is Bad Education, in which he plays a kind of wacky character who is a little bit more of a big, broad comedy character. Well, it's because Gavin and Stacey is pretty grounded in reality. The whole thing, plus he is not there to be the silly character. It's kind of Rob Brydon and James Corden. He's the straight man in a lot of ways. And I feel like Matthew Horn is fine, and I'll say about that. He's perfectly good. He's a good actor. He's good at what he does.
Yeah.
but he's kind of nothing special, if that's a bit of a broad way of saying it.
Hard to define.
Like, if he hadn't had Gavin and Stacey, like, where would he be now? Do you know what I mean? Like, if he hadn't had that one big hit where everyone goes, okay, yeah, he's a star. And, like, because he hasn't become a star out of it. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're saying. I haven't really got anything negative to say about him, but I haven't really got anything massively positive to say about him either. Yeah,
he should just be a working actor who you've never really heard of, and you see him in things occasionally. But fair enough, you know, he got that one big role, and he's built a career off it. I can't begrudge him that. I've seen him in theatre. I saw him in Noises Off a couple of years ago. He's perfectly good. He was actually quite good in that. He was really getting into the kind of the knockabout comedy. His farce, the timing was really good. It was on point. Yeah. So yeah, he's a fine performer. Perhaps this is like a little bit like Nicky Wardley. He's just sort of nothing jumps out at you. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we're being harsh.
That's interesting. Let's go back to the shop floor then, Alan. So the food arrives. Arthur Smith brings up the food that's left over from the belly launch, and of course, Captain Peacock eats a bit of lobster and he starts to choke.
And of course, we've already established that Mr. Conway knows exactly how to stop someone from choking.
We've got a nice finger up the arse joke without having to say it out loud.
Yes. And of course, he doesn't actually do that. He gives him the Heimlich maneuver because he's not a little chihuahua. He's a human man. So
yeah. Mr. Conway comes over, Heimlichs the victim. But then Matthew Horn arrives just as this is happening.
And we all know the Heimlich maneuver is the most comedy friendly of all medical assistants.
Why isn't Mr. Humphries doing it? Why isn't Jason Watkins doing the Heimlich? That is so much more obvious.
Do you know what, Gareth? Maybe they went for subtlety. Have you thought about that?
Well, you've come to the wrong town.
But it's nice. It all works well. It's a little callback. That's all great, and then we get Mrs. Slocum turns up.
Well, there's a nice little lead in to Mrs. Slocum's arrival. So Matthew Horn catches them all messing about, and Captain Peacock tries to get his way out of it. They say, "No, it's the 3 Ds of retail: diligence, dignity, duty." At which point the lift doors open, and in comes Mrs. Slocum covered in shit.
Yes, like I say, all the context we've had for this is she had to run off home. So she comes back covered in shit.
It's another poo joke, Alan.
Yeah, obviously you don't approve of that. David Croft wouldn't have allowed this. And this is a nice callback to, again, it all ties up. There was a gag earlier where Miss Brahms is going to clean down the counters and just pulled out a baby wipe type thing. And Mrs. Slocum goes, "No, those are my intimate lady wipes." And they sort of surreptitiously put them away. And it just seemed like a standalone gag. But now we find out that her sewage system has been backed up because of her intimate lady wipes, and it has caused basically an explosion. And she was covered in shit, all off camera, so that's fine. I tell you what, her pussy's in a right old state.
Well, her biggest concern is that it's going to take a whole bottle of Vosin to clean her cat. Why was the cat there? Presumably the cat's got shit on it. So, do you use Vosin human shampoo on a cat? That doesn't seem to make any sense.
I would. If I was going to use any shampoo on an animal, it would be Vosin.
Vosin. Do you remember Vosin?
Yeah, I do.
Such a medicated shampoo. I used to love the smell of Vosin. Oh, now I feel like, who remembers Vosin? What's that about? Anyway, Mrs. Slocum's covered in shit. And Mr. Conway now is absolutely in hysterics at her pussy chat.
Well, isn't that interesting? Mr. Conway absolutely recognises that pussy means vagina. And that is something that we never got.
And that is the first time in world anyone has acknowledged it.
Yeah. Which is a choice. It's an interesting choice. It is a modernisation, I suppose, in that sense. But does that mean every time, if, let's say, this went to series, which is kind of certainly something they had in mind, every time that we do the pussy gag, is he going to be snickering in the corner?
I don't want to be unkind, but it's really bad fake laughing. It's not good acting, that bit. That's my only criticism of his performance. His fake laughing was terrible. So that's basically the end of the episode. There's a little epilogue where a customer comes in, and this really annoyed me. This customer came in and he said, "Oh, my mate was in, he got a pair of 501s. I'm after a pair of 501s." And Captain Peacock doesn't know what 501s are because he's a fuzzy-duddy old man. But he's a fuddy-duddy old man who works in a trousers shop.
Yeah.
Of course he would know
He
what
knows
501s
he
are.
knows the stock,
They're in
doesn't he? He knows
stock.
the stock.
Captain Peacock knows the PLU code for every single item in that department.
Yeah. But I think it's a really nice ending to the episode in which everyone else has had to go away because of their shenanigans in one way or another. And so Mr. Conway, new young man, is the only one there. Are you free? Yes, I am free. Are you being served, sir? So it's nice. Yeah. It's a lovely little
we're up and running.
Kappa,
he's now part of the team.
He's now part of the team, yeah. He's found his place. And he's found his place in the store because he can serve young people. And no one else has figured out how to do that.
No one even knows what a 501 is. Let's wrap up and draw our conclusions. I think this is great. I do. You know, you can argue what was the point of it. They're just, I think you said earlier, it's like a fan written thing. And if you treat it in that way, then it's great. It's done a good job. I still think you would say, well, did we really need to do this? Why don't you just put a repeat on? Yeah. But I'm glad they did. I enjoyed it, and it was good fun.
Yeah, I find it interesting, and I think it's a really good job. I don't think you could have done it any better if you were tasked with doing this. But, you know, as it got legs, maybe we've seen it. We all seen 10 years.
That's the downside for me. Like I say, I enjoyed it. I'm glad they made it, but they didn't need to, and I'm glad they didn't make any more. I'm glad it didn't turn into a series.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for listening to us ramble about the Are You Being Served remake.
And we're not going to talk about Are You Being Served ever again. We've done it.
I think you're right. I think we have rinsed every single piece of juice out of Are You Being Served. We have a special spooky Christmas episode coming up for you next week, so we'll see you then. If you want to follow us on social media, then we are BritComPod on Instagram, or you can find us on Facebook. Just search for the British Sitcom History Podcast.
You can also find us on YouTube, where the podcasts are uploaded with a few video clips attached so that you can watch as you listen, and that might be an easier way for you to digest podcasts over there on YouTube. Search for British Sitcom History.
Thanks for listening to us talk about Are You Being Served, and we'll see you soon. Bye!
Bye-bye!